well and staying safe. I want you to write down the long date, Tuesday 12th of May 2020, and the LI to classify invertebrates. Well done, everyone. Now let's do some recap from last week's lesson. So I want you to get your pencils and your papers or your exercise books and answer these questions. The differences between living things is sometimes called fill in the gap. Animals are split in how many groups? And something, animals with a backbone, and invertebrates are animals blank a backbone. And the last, and vertebrates can be separated into how many groups? And write down those groups. So pause this section, have a think and write it all down. Well done, everyone. Let's go through the answers. So the differences between living things is sometimes called variation. Animals are split in two groups. Vertebrates are animals with a backbone, and invertebrates are animals without a backbone. And the last one, vertebrates can be separated into 5 groups: mammal, fish, reptile, bird, amphibian. Well done if you got that all correct, and if you didn't, that's fine. You could go through the answers now to refresh your memories. Well done. Now, as previously discussed in last week's lesson, invertebrates do not have a backbone or a skeleton made of bones. Many have a hard shell outside their bodies to protect them. Others have soft, flexible bodies. Look at the animals over here. Which ones have soft, flexible bodies and which ones have a hard shell outside their bodies? Classification. There are more than 80% of living things on the planet, and 98% are animals that are invertebrates. So as we can see in this pie chart, we have invertebrates over here, and they take up all of this space. Invertebrates serve as food for humans and are key elements in food chains that support birds, fish, and many other vertebrate species. So the first group, insects. There are over 80,000 different types of insects. They have an exoskeleton covering their body. The body consists of 3 parts: the head, the thorax, and abdomen. They must shed their exoskeleton in order to grow. And as we know, that living things have 7 characteristics which show that they're living, and growth is one of them. So if you remember the mnemonic Mrs. Gren, growth is part of that. And they have a pair of antennae on their head. So let's take a look at this insect. The antenna is just singular for antennae. The head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Annelids. They have existed for over 120 million years. There are over 9,000 species, including worms and leeches. They have bodies divided into segments. So as we can see over here, these are all individual segments. They don't have any limbs. Some have long bristles, others have shorter bristles and seem smooth. Protozoa. They eat tiny algae and bacteria, and they can only be seen under a microscope. So you can't see this with your naked eye. You need special equipment called the microscope to be able to see these. They are simple single-celled animals, and they are a source of food for fish and other animals. So let's see some recap. What was fish? Is it a vertebrate or an invertebrate? It was a vertebrate. Well done if you got that correct. It was part of the 5 groups. And they reproduce by splitting in half. What do we mean when we say reproduce? Pause and have a think. You mean that it makes copies of itself. The crustaceans. My turn, crustaceans. Your turn, crustaceans. The most common crustaceans are the crab, lobster, and barnacle. Woodlice are also crustaceans. They have a something external shell. Is the shell hard or is it soft? Take a look at this picture. It's hard. Well done if you got that correct. Which something their body. So fill out the gap. Why do they need hard external shells? Why do you think it's useful? Pause and have a think. The hard shell protects their body. Well done if you got that correct. Protect. Let's write that down. They live mostly in the ocean or other waters. They have a head and abdomen, and many have claws, as you can see in this picture, that help with crawling and eating. Mollusks. They were among the first inhabitants of Earth. They live on land or in water. Most have a soft, skin-like organ covered with a hard outside shell. Land mollusks move slowly on a flat sole called a foot, and ocean mollusks attach themselves to rocks or other surfaces and can't move. So as we're going through each of these, you can also pause the video and read it out loudly to yourself. The arachnids. Most arachnids have 8 pair of legs. The first pair of legs may be used for holding their prey and feeding. So, if arachnids hold their prey, what would they be called then? So we have the prey and we have the predator. Common arachnids are spiders, scorpions, ticks, and mites. They have a hard exoskeleton and jointed legs for walking, and they do not have antennae. The echinoderms. My turn. Echinoderms. Your turn. Echinoderms. They are marine animals that live in the ocean. Common echinoderms include the sea star, sea urchin, sand dollar, and sea cucumber. They have arms or spines that radiate from the center of their body. The central body contains their organs and their mouth for feeding. The mouth is underneath to eat other sea life. What do we mean when we say habitat? You should be familiar with this scientific terminology. Pause and have a think. The natural home or environment of an animal, plant, or other organism. Invertebrates often inhabit small homes called microhabitats. Micro means small, tiny. Invertebrates are so small, so they must be handled very carefully. Here are some different microhabitats you might find. So you might find invertebrates under stones and rocks, in short grass, inside or under rotten wood, under fallen leaves, in and on soil, or in tall flowers and grasses. Can you think of any more microhabitats? Pause, have a think, and write it down. So now we have a few tasks based on how confident you feel. So the first task, we have the vertebrates and invertebrates sorting out activity. We have 2 tables over here, and we have vertebrates and invertebrates over here. So, and you have to sort it out in the correct column. So you have to go through your notes from last week's lesson and this week's lesson and look at all the characteristics that these animals have to be able to do this. This will also be uploaded on the school website, so you can either print it out and cut out the animals and stick it in, or if you don't have a printer, that's fine, you can just draw this in your books. That's the first activity. And the second one over here, look at the physical features and characteristics of these invertebrates and use the sorting cards to match them to the correct group. So you need to go back to this lesson to look at the characteristics. And this is also going to be on the school website, and there's more pictures that you can sort out. And over here, we have an invertebrate identification. So if you have a garden or when you're going out for your daily exercise, take a look around you, see if you can spot any invertebrates, and you can name the invertebrate. You can write what habitat was it found in, what microhabitat was it found in, and what characteristics did that invertebrate have. And then you can draw a labeled diagram of the invertebrate. So for example, if you're walking and you see a worm, you can write down worm over here. And what category did the worms fall in? So you need to go back to your notes. What habitat was it found in? What characteristics did it have that made you know that it was part of that invertebrate category? And then you could draw a labeled diagram. And over here, there's an invertebrate classification that will also be on the school website just to help you out. And your purple pen activity, you need to write down what are the similarities and differences between vertebrates and invertebrates, so really have a think. And over here, there are some useful links in case you didn't go through them last time, which you can find out more about vertebrates and invertebrates and complete the quiz. Well done, everyone, and see you in our next lesson.